Well, hello there, folks, and a warm festive welcome back to What's for Tea. It's lovely to see you all again, and I hope you're all having a fantastic December. And to end the year, I thought I'd do this wee sausage plat, or it's quite a large sausage plat, but it's just basically a big sausage roll. And this is perfect, if you're having a wee get together, a wee gathering for New Year. You can make this, slice it up, and just leave this on the side with some wee bowls of chutney or onion marmalade, or that kind of thing. People just help themselves. It's just lovely. So this is everything that I'm using here, but as usual, all of the ingredients will be in the description box underneath this video. So I've got my sausage meat, tomato puree, breadcrumbs, some eggs, and that wee bowl there I've got some onion powder, garlic powder, salt and pepper, and I'm also using some fresh parsley as well. But like I said, you can add all sorts of things to this. You can add fried onions, fried mushrooms, but do bear in mind these things do let off an awful lot of water, and you can end up with quite a soggy pastry. So by adding the breadcrumbs, it does help to soak up a lot of the moisture that's in your meat. So this is the pastry that I'm using here, but if you're good at making pastry, feel free to make your own, but I love to use this stuff here. And this is my sausage meat. I am using pork sausage meat, but again, use whatever sausage you prefer. You can use normal sausages and just take the skins off. If you can't buy the sausage meat like that, just use ordinary sausages and remove the skin. So the first thing we're going to do is get the sausage meat into a bowl. To that, I'm going to add my fresh parsley and then the salt, pepper, garlic powder and onion powder into the bowl, and half of my panko breadcrumbs, and then the tablespoon of tomato puree as well. You can do this with a spoon, but I find it's much easier and the result is much better if you just get in with your hand and just smoosh everything together until it's well distributed and nice and even all over. And once I'm happy that it's well combined, I'm going to pop in the other half of my breadcrumbs and give it another good mix just until that is well combined as well. And then just bring it all together into a ball. It's really, really easy, and you'll end up with something that looks like this. But we don't want it into a ball. We want this into a nice cylindrical shape or a nice log shape, because we're going to place this right into the middle of the pastry. Talking about the pastry, get your pastry out of the fridge. I would get this out of the fridge a good 15-20 minutes before you intend on using it. It's just going to be much easier to roll out rather than trying to use it straight from the fridge. Get your sausage meat, and like I said, you want to roll this into a log shape or a cylindrical shape. And then once you're happy with your shape, just plop it into the middle of your pastry. Make sure you leave a wee gap at the bottom and at the top, because we're going to use the excess pastry just to flap over each side. So with a knife, you just want to cut a slit in the bottom at each side, just at the bottom of your sausage meat. Do the same at the top, and this is going to flap over the top and the bottom of your sausage roll just to keep everything nice and neat. Take away the excess pastry from each side. Just a wee strip will do. You don't want your pastry being too long and you end up with too much pastry. You do want a nice balance between the sausage meat and the pastry, a sort of half and half. And then with your knife on the diagonal, make some wee slits from the underside of your meat all the way to the edge. The amount of strips you make doesn't matter. Just make sure you've got the same on each side, because we're going to make a sort of plait effect on the top. So you do want it nice and even at each side. The amount you do does not matter. The more strips you do, the more intricate it's going to look, but you can make these as wide or as shallow as you like. So just make sure you take away the excess pastry from the bottom so that you can easily flap that over the bottom of your sausage meat, and then just flip it around and do exactly the same on the other side. And you're just going to be left with those wee slits on the side, and you just want to overlap those. It's really, really easy, as you can see, and it creates a lovely pleat effect or plait effect on the top. And that's where the name comes from. It's a sausage plait because the pastry has a plaited appearance on the top. So just keep going all the way down, and you should have an even amount of pastry for each side. But I ended up with an extra one. I don't know how that happened, but I ended up with an extra one. Not that it matters, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's party food at the end of the day. But we did have this for our tea because at the time of filming, I'm nowhere near New Year, so we had this for our tea with baked beans and mashed potato. So once you're happy with your pastry, plop this onto an oven tray. I am using this flat oven tray and it's perfect for this kind of thing, or an oven sheet, whatever you've got, just as long as it's oven safe. And the last thing we're going to do is glaze the pastry with 1 beaten egg and 1 egg yolk. That's just going to make it extra rich and give you a lovely glossy finish. So with a brush, just go all over. Make sure you get all those wee nooks and crannies. And then you want to put this into the oven for about half an hour, gas mark 6, 200C, 400F in a conventional oven. If you've got a fan assisted oven, you will have to adjust that to suit your own oven. And if you find that your sausage roll is getting too dark halfway through the cooking time, you can cover this with foil, you know, just to prevent it from burning, because it has the tendency to burn because it's pastry at the end of the day. I covered mine with foil when there was about 10 minutes left just to make sure it wasn't going to burn, and I was really happy with this. And as you can see, the pastry isn't soggy. There is no soggy bottom. As you can see there, it's lovely and crisp all the way over, and I reckon that is down to those breadcrumbs that I added in to the sausage meat. You know, it will absorb a lot of the fat that is in there and a lot of the moisture that is in there. And that's what I was saying. If you're going to use mushrooms or fried onions, you can easily add that into the mix as well. But bear in mind that, you know, it might give you more moisture than you want, and you could you can end up with soggy pastry. So just be careful with that. If you are going to add mushrooms and onions, make sure they're well fried, cooled down and dried before you add them to the sausage meat, because like I said, you don't want soggy pastry, especially if you're going to serve this as party food. You don't want folk to pick it up and it all just falls apart. And this has had about an hour to cool down, so it's going to cut really nicely, and you'll get lots of slices out of this as well. You know, if you are intending on serving something like this at a New Year or even Christmas gathering. But like I said, I am nowhere near New Year at the time of filming this. We're actually just at the beginning of December. So we had this for our tea with some baked beans and of course the mashed potato on the side, and it was absolutely delicious. A wee bit of a tomato tang off of this as well because of the tomato paste that I added, but it was really, really tasty. So do let me know what you thought of that and if you're thinking of giving that one a go. And thank you all for watching and leaving your lovely comments, and for those that support the channel over on Patreon, and to the channel members as well, thank you so much for all your support throughout the year. It does mean ever so much. Yeah, so I will see you during the week for another wee recipe, or even back this time next week for our wee shopping haul, or back on Sunday for our family meals of the week. But whenever you choose to join me again, have a wonderful rest of your day and Happy New Year if I don't see you before then. Take care and bye for now. Bye now.